My name is Vernisha Jones, and I am the president of the West Garfield Park Youth Council. And we believe that we are the solution to the issues in our community. Our theme is Nothing With Us, Without Us. The West Garfield Park Youth Council is sponsored by Fathers Who Care, which is a nonprofit organization located on the west side of Chicago within the West Garfield Park community. The West Garfield Park Youth Council is comprised of young people from our community whose focus and concern is youth leadership and having a voice within the community to reduce senseless violence and illegal substance use. We invite people from all over, especially our young people, to come in and see what we're all about. Our show can be viewed every Thursday at 7 p.m. Again, that is every Thursday at 7 p.m. You can also view us online at www.cantv.org/live. Again, that is www.cantv.org/live. Well, I want to welcome everyone to the West Garfield Park Youth Council show, where we have important conversations with leaders, advocates, and community members working to make a difference throughout the west side of Chicago and beyond. Today's conversation focuses on community outreach, youth involvement, prevention, and the importance of working together to strengthen our neighborhoods. Today we're joined by Richard Vargas. You cool with Mr. Vargas?
Mr. Vargas. Okay. Whatever makes you feel better.
We're joined by Richard, the Director of Community Outreach and Engagement for the Westside Heroin Opioid Task Force. Richard has dedicated more than 35 years to social services and community engagement right on the Chicago's west side. So I want to thank you so much for, clearing out your schedule to come be a guest on our show this evening. How are you feeling?
I'm good. It wasn't a real busy schedule, so
okay.
I'm good.
Okay. But thank you still for coming. I want to feel a special. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
But still, thank you for taking out the time in your day to come and, speak out to our community.
It's very important for us to not only to work in the community, but talk about community issues in the community.
Mm-hmm. I definitely agree. So are you ready to get into this conversation?
Let's get it going.
Is you nervous?
Not at all.
Okay, I love it.
You make it easy. You make it easy. You make it easy.
Thank you so much. So I want to start off with, can you tell our audience who is Richard Vargas?
Whoa.
And when you talk about this, I don't want you to talk about what you got going on now. I want you to start from the roots a little bit. You don't have to go in deep detail, but I just want you to let us know who we are talking to today.
Well, back in 1959.
That was a good one.
Richard Vargas is a young man who grew up on the west side of Chicago, west side
Yes.
all my life. Was born and raised on the west side. Family moved in 1968, and that's when I came around, and pretty much a staple here. I love the West Side. I enjoy the West Side. I like everything about the West Side.
Okay.
You could try to take me to the North Side. I wouldn't want to go. You could try to take me to the South Side. I wouldn't want to go. I'm a West Sider through and through. Grew up going to school in the community, in and around the community. Grew up through all of the 70s and 80s, which were a great time.
No, that was... Well, I wasn't during that time, but I heard about it.
Yeah,
everything was cheaper.
Yeah, definitely cheaper.
Yes.
But times were different. Times were simpler. Yeah. Times were, there was more sense of community, I think, back in those days. So just a young man, half black, half Puerto Rican kid on the west side of Chicago, which is a pretty interesting mixture considering, most of the areas around it is an African American community.
Yeah.
So that was pretty interesting, but just enjoy being on the west side. Love the cultural dynamic of the west side. There's really nothing I don't like about the west side.
That's good. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So growing up on the west side, what are some lessons or experiences that shaped the person that you are today? Like what pushed you into what you're doing today?
That's an interesting question. I think what put me into what I'm doing today is just seeing a lot of the inequality.
Okay.
We're on the west side, just seeing how how things shape out. With employment, with social skills, or social, the economics of in the community, just the different things with crime, different things on how people are treated, the racial disparities, all those things kind of shaped who I am today.
I agree. I definitely agree. I feel like I'm the same way where it was like I grew up in the community and stuff, but and with the work, my father he built the bridge for us to do it. But I feel like it took me seeing everything that's going on and the different stuff that you have to go through as far as racial and all that type of stuff that pushed me to wanna.
So here's the question: do you see it? Or do you feel it?
Both.
Yeah.
Both.
Yeah.
I feel like certain issues, like I might not have had experience when it came to this, but I definitely have had experience when it comes to this. So it's like, I might not see it, but then I'm a type of person where I feel like I feel when other people is going through stuff too. So when I see other people going through stuff, in my mind it'd be like, I could possibly go through the same thing.
Can.
So,
no different.
you have to have that mindset because you never know if it could be you or your family.
It could be. And that's why I like the work I do, because I sometimes feel like I'm seconds away from being those individuals myself.
Exactly. Exactly. And so you earned a degree in criminal justice, theater, speech, and performing arts. So you was just in school just having a time of your life. What led you toward the combination of like the different things? Like what was it? You was undecided or like?
No, actually, I feel like joining to be a major in criminal justice was just seeing social injustice. Mm-hmm. When you think of criminal justice, a lot of times people think of policing. A lot of times people think of like institutional, like the jails and prison. Well, there's a social justice piece to it too. So the social justice piece is looking at the lens of the community and how different people are impacted by justice and how people are impacted by various things or injustice in the community. So I think that was pretty much more my direction to go towards. Just studied theater, speech and performing arts because just to help me communicate, to help me talk and help me learn how to see perspectives, learn how to just look at things in a different lens. And I think just, and also at the time I still am just interested in studying theater and I did a lot of theater in Chicago. So I like that type of work as well. So just that combination of learning how to find my voice, find who I am, and then also learning how to speak in front of crowds, things like that.
And and I feel like that's a good thing to try to learn because that's kind of hard. That's why even when it came to me doing the TV show, I feel like this not for everybody.
Well, yeah.
This type of stuff is not for everybody. So I feel like that's definitely, and I wanted to be an actor once upon a time in my life, and it ain't happened, but I feel like it still can happen. I feel like I got it in me.
Don't give it up.
I feel like I got it in me.
Don't give it up. Don't give it up.
So did you always know you wanted to work in social service?
No, I did not.
You didn't do service? No, you do it so well.
Yeah, no. So here's the thing. I actually did not want to be in social service. Social service found me, and I kind of fell into it. Okay. I really wanted to. I was moving towards the direction of theater, moving towards the director of wanting to be this great actor and things like that. So how it worked out for me was, when you're in school, you have to do an internship. So I started doing an internship working at a youth organization. They ended up hiring me, and what I didn't want to do, I ended up doing for 35 years.
And then when you get a job, you can't help, especially when you're on an internship.
So here's the thing. This is something I tell, especially to young people. You gotta live. When you're working, that's one thing. You get a paycheck, right? Mm-hmm. So you gotta live in reality until you can live in your dream. Yeah. The reality is we got to pay bills, we got to do the things that we have to do. It would be great to have a career like that, but those careers don't often start paying you. So working was how I lived in my reality, and then maybe eventually I'll live in my dream.
And then it just kept going.
Just kept
going. And then you kept progressing in it, so it was like you felt like it was something. Yeah. And now you feel like this is you. This is
me.
Or do you still want to go act?
Both.
Okay. You could do both. In this generation, you could do everything.
I think so.
Okay. I feel like you should, just like you just told me, I feel like you should keep going.
You too.
I feel like you should keep going. Okay, so you work mainly on Chicago's West Side. Yep. What are some of the biggest changes you have seen over the years?
I think, just like we talked about earlier, that the community piece. I remember growing up, we had a sense of community. When you went somewhere, you did something, you knew your neighbor, you were connected in your neighborhood. If you did something wrong, that neighbor would tell your mom.
And they was able to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I feel like that loss of community. I feel like we don't have that established as much. I think nowadays we're so kind of separated, and we're so I stick to my house, this person stick to
And
their
don't
house.
say nothing to my child, even if they doing wrong.
Exactly. So back in the day, it's like, we were parented.
Yeah.
Not just by my parents, we were parented by the community. So I feel like maybe we lost that a little bit.
I feel like we lost that all the way.
A lot, right?
Because even in the school systems, I feel like it's very rare that a teacher could tell you what to do without it being, an issue.
Exactly.
So I definitely feel like that's something that we got to get back to, where parents are not trying to be their kids' friends and they're trying to be. Because have you been seeing all the different stuff that's been going on as far as like the youth takeovers and stuff like that? It's just been like so much where it's like, I don't know, and I don't. What you think about that?
Well, I think structure. I think two things, and I kind of feel like this, and I think maybe with what's going on in our world today, we're just coming out of an area of COVID where kids were kind of kept in the house. So I think sometimes, and I could be wrong, maybe somebody else may share a different opinion, and that's fine, but I think at some point that we are fearful for our kids, and we're in fear of our kids. So I think fearful because, we worry about the dangers, and Chicago is a great city, but it can be a violent city.
Yes.
So we worry about we're fearful for our kids today. And I think we're fearful of our kids, and sometimes we don't feel like we could tell our kids what to do, and without them getting, having an attitude,
exactly.
things like that. So I think those two things may shape what may be going on in part, and then, it's like that setting that structure and that boundary for kids. And I believe kids want structure and boundaries, but because we can't just let kids do what they want to do. We have, as parents, we have to lead them and we have to guide them. So I think when we're fearful of our kids, we're always fearful that something's going to happen to them. And then when we're fear of our kids, we don't want to kind of control the situation or create those boundaries, and kind of we give the kids free rein to kind of do what they want to do.
And learn the lessons. And I feel like a lot of parents are starting to do that now. I done seen people speak on that, where it's like, I just allow them to do it because let them, learn on the hard way.
Let them learn on their own. They'll learn. They'll learn.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I need to put my hand on fire to learn that it's hot.
Yeah.
I think someone could tell me, hey, that's hot.
Yeah. Yeah, but this generation is like, that's just like a parent telling you don't touch my purse, or don't go in the refrigerator. But it's like, Mom, why don't you want me to go in the refrigerator?
Yeah, I mean, kids are
Curious.
inquisitive. They're
Yes.
curious. They want to know what's in there. And I think a lot of times we sometimes in parenting is like, do what I say, not what I do. Parents have
And I
to
feel like
be-
that's the wrong thing.
Parents have to be the greatest leader. They have to be the greatest leader.
Okay. And so why do you feel youth involvement is so important when it comes to creating stronger communities with what we got going on now?
Oh, I think youth involvement is vital, because eventually these kids are going to be adults. So if the kids are eventually going to be adults, we have to teach them things leadership skills. We have to teach them structure. We have to teach them how to do things so that when they become adults, that they can
Take charge.
They can not only take charge, but they can function.
Yes.
So I think it's vitally important for kids to have a role in the community.
And so, speaking on that, with our young people becoming leaders and stuff like that, what do you think our young people need most now?
Structure, love, prayer, a voice.
Okay.
Someone to listen to them, someone to encourage them. I think those are some key items.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like that listening point is like one of the main things, where they just want to feel like they're heard. They just want to feel like what they're saying makes a difference, or you're actually putting input versus it just being talking to us versus at us.
Well, that too, but I think knowing what they're saying matters. I think kids probably don't feel like what they have to say or what role they play matter. I think, as a kid, growing up, I think you want to know that someone is hearing you. and listening to you, or that you have some important role. It's like we can't just minimize a kid because they're a kid. We have to help them realize that their role is very important as well.
Okay. And so, last question regarding this: what role do youth play in creating change in their own neighborhoods?
Or what could they play, or what roles?
Well, what could they play? What can young people start doing to make differences in their communities?
I think a lot of young kids could do. Youth can do a lot of things in their community, and it doesn't have to be like high tech stuff. It could be small things. It could be starting a little block club party. It could be.
And I think that has stopped a lot.
It could be. It could be maybe just taking off. I remember growing up, we used to have areas where times where we clean up the neighborhood. It could be small little things, because I believe those little things turn into great things when adults start seeing kids take initiative like that and do little things and helping out and providing different ways to support in the neighborhood, like just like say for instance you have your block and some kids just start. Remember back in the day that we would go out and we would mow people's lawns and they would give us money,
give you money to do
things
it.
Like that with
Pick
kids.
up their leaves,
Things like that. I think it's just a very simple thing, and I think those simple things can turn into great things.
Okay, you never know who you meet.
You never know.
Either.
You never know.
You never know. So now we're at a point. Can you tell everyone what organization you work for and what is the organization? Explain it to us for some that may not know.
The organization I work for is the West Side Heroin and Opioid. I'm from the West Side now. West Side is built in my geography. West Side Heroin and Opioid Task Force. And what we do is we actually go out into communities and we do harm reduction and we train people on. Are you familiar with the term Narcan?
Yes.
So Narcan is an overdose reversal medication. It's actually a technology that when it's used, like say for example, if someone has an overdose, this technology can actually go into the brain receptor. It will remove the opioid, and it will sit there so that the person can revive and return back to normal breathing. So we do education on Narcan awareness and understanding. We pass out harm reduction material, different things that individuals can use.
And what is harm reduction?
I'll explain that.
Okay.
So really, when you think of harm reduction, just think of reversing and just say reducing harm. So different things that we pass out to help individuals reduce harm when they're in drug or a substance use. So again, like when you think of harm reduction, you can, very simple. You came here today, right? What was that one thing that you put on?
Seatbelt.
Seatbelt is harm reduction. So like if you have an accident, it reduces the ability to be harmed in that accident, right?
Okay, yes.
So harm reduction is not like a big complicated, it's just a big complicated thing. It's just using things to help reduce harm. Okay. So a lot of times when individuals are in use on the street, there are things that they may do that increase their harm. So, for example, you may have individuals who may have a certain habit, and we pass out what we call smoking kits. And a smoking kit, when someone is using a particular substance, they may smoke it. So what we do is we give them a fresh kit, a kit that's clean. Because what happens is if a person uses that particular item that they may use to smoke with, over time it begins to develop some biological things that may not be good for the body. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to give them fresh, clean things. Now, we're not trying to tell people what they're doing is good, bad, or otherwise. We just want them to,
if you're going to do it the right way.
Right, or just reduce their harm while they're doing what they're doing.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
I done actually learned about, we had Fanya. You know Fanya?
Yeah, my boss.
Yeah, she came on here and she we had the actual machines and stuff, and she was showing. Yeah, she did what's her name? So she's always in the meetings and stuff. I love her. Yeah. Love you, Fanya. Oh. Okay, so with the next question, why is overdose awareness and prevention such an important issue in our communities?
Well, it's a very important issue in the community because the part of the West Side is the epicenter for heroin and opioid overdose. So really, it's more fentanyl now in the community. People utilize the term heroin, but now we're finding that there's more fentanyl or higher level of fentanyl in the products that are out here in the community. There's very little heroin for the most part. So when the areas that we work in all over Chicago are some of the areas, or on the west side, are some of the areas where the highest rates of overdose and overdose deaths occur. So when you think about areas like Lake and Pulaski, you think about areas of Madison and Pulaski, you think about areas of Chicago Avenue near Kedzie, Chicago Avenue near Home in St. Louis. These are some areas that are areas where high level of use, high level of products in that area, and high level of potential overdose. So these are some of the reasons why we believe that the work that we do is very important.
And so, what are some misconceptions you feel like people have when it comes to like addiction and?
Well, I think some of the misconception is like, that term, if a person is an addict, that's a term that's used, but sometimes people use that term, once an addict, always an addict. It doesn't always have to be that way. A person who's in substance use can find recovery. There's all different types of things that people can do. They can do outpatient treatment. They can do what's called medical stabilization or detox. They can do various different programs, medication assistant treatment such as methadone or Suboxone. So there's many different paths. And then also there's the Narcotics Anonymous. There's Alcoholics Anonymous. So there's various different pathways that people can go through to find support and for their recovery. So again, I think a lot of times people use that term, I'm always going to be an addict, and that's not necessarily true. You could be a person who was in former use or a person who's now in recovery. Mm-hmm. So, and I think also when we think of a person who has a substance use disorder or a person who's in use, we think that's just like some person who's on the street. A lot of us have family members who are functional. They may drink, they may do otherwise.
They have regular jobs.
They may have regular jobs and live in a normal home. So again, I think we kind of take that term, we kind of apply it to just people who are on the street when it could be applied across the board in various different ways.
Okay. And so how important is education and Narcan training in saving lives? And also, is it any way that people, if they're trying to get, access to Narcans, or if they need help with learning it, how can they get involved with, learning it? Or do you guys have pop-up shops? Like, what do you guys have going on in that nature?
So, real easy. A couple of things that can be done. Number one is our agency is an agency set up to teach individuals how to use Narcan and how to understand what overdose, have an overdose awareness. So our agency is set up for that. So you can just you can contact us, and we will go out. We'll do trainings. We'll come out
wherever.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll do trainings. We'll make sure that people can understand what it is, and understand what Narcan is, and understand how to use Narcan and when to use Narcan. Those are some very important things to know. So we have those things set up. If people want to contact us and if they need Narcan, we can make sure that they have Narcan. We can tell them where they can get Narcan that could be nearby them. Okay. So Narcan is found in public libraries. Narcan is now found on some CTA platforms. There are some spots around different parts of the city for the west side where we have boxes where you can go right in there and get Narcan, and then also at our office. You can always come by our office and come and get some. We will train, we train churches, we train senior buildings, we can train schools, we can do training anywhere.
Okay, and is it a number?
You can give me a call. My number is 773-668-7268. If you want to reach out to me, I'm the director of outreach. So if there's something that you may need, we always like to know in areas, like say for instance, when there are pockets of areas where they see a lot of people in use, or see a lot of individuals who may be looking to be in overdose. We like to know that because we like to go to the areas where people are in use. And also, if we have a schedule that comes out monthly, you can find us at any different place, and you can come up to our table and inquire about how to get Narcan. We give it out in the community daily.
Okay. And so, y'all address, where y'all located at?
We're at 310 North Pulaski, right almost at the corner of Lake and Pulaski.
Okay. And so we're at the end. These shows, did it go by fast?
Man, too fast.
Way too fast.
Yeah, we just started.
That's literally how it goes. Once you start getting into conversation, it just like shoots by. Yeah. So if somebody is watching this and they just may need a word of encouragement or just something, a pick me up, what is something you would tell them?
Hope. Helping our people every day.
Okay.
Yeah, just hope. One of the things that, you know, in our area, they call that area the heroin highway along Pulaski, because there's the 290 and then there's the train line. So what we want to do is we want to call that area the Hope Highway, because we feel like when people have hope and they have something that gives them hope, we feel like that maybe that they can do something different and they make changes in their life. So I would say hope, I would want to encourage you, and I would say I love you and God loves you.
I love it. So what's next for Richard Vargas?
Ooh, what's next
and
for
how
Richard?
can the community continue supporting the work that you are doing?
What's next for me is I don't know. I kind of feel like I go where God wants me to be.
Okay.
And I kind of feel God just put me in this place right now. And I kind of like the ideal of training new people who are in the field, who are coming into the field, people who may have just maybe graduated or just starting out. I kind of feel like that's a role that I enjoy. Is helping people or helping this next generation, because I'm not going to be here forever. So I want to make sure that next generation comes along and they can learn some of the things. And I'm not saying I'm the best, but I think I have something to offer.
Yeah, as long as you do.
Yeah, I believe I have something to offer. And I think how the community can support us, I think it's simple, you know, just the community to come out to learn about Narcan. One of the things I always say about Narcan is it should be in every household, it should be in every neighborhood, and every community. Mm-hmm. Because think about it like this. Someone who may live in a household, say for example, you may have a senior who may be on medication or taking pain medication, and the risk for overdose is polysubstance use. Mm-hmm. So if you're taking medication, you may drink, or maybe if you take more medication than you should, a person can have an overdose. So keeping that Narcan in the home is better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So again, those are some important things. I think just the community coming out, learning more about Narcan, learning more about harm reduction, learning more about overdose awareness. I know there's kind of a little bit misunderstanding, and when we think about harm reduction, there's that ideal that we're enabling people. And I like for people to come out to learn a little bit more and understand a little bit more. And then think about it like this. I like for people to think that I had a conversation with a person the other day, and they didn't want Narcan. They were totally against it, and they said they would not help someone who was having an overdose. So the question I asked was, if your mom or dad was out and they had a heart attack, would you want someone to help them? And they say, yeah. So that's the same thing. I don't see anything different. You know, Narcan is there to help. CPR is there to help. Hospitals are there to help. We're there to help. So it's just really about helping. And when you see people, like, you know, as humans, and you see people and you have a human spirit, I think that idea of just helping people, regardless of how you feel, regardless of whether you agree with somebody's choices or not, just the idea of loving and helping someone and treating someone humanely, I think is very important.
And that's a wrap.
Man, we just wrapped.
That's a wrap. And I want to thank you so much for being a guest on this show this evening. And thank you for giving the knowledge out to our community, because it's well needed. And I just want to thank you guys for watching the West Garfield Park Youth Council. And see you guys next week. Same time, same station.
Thank you, everybody.